What's up, Eastern Oregon? This is Dodsey, and here we are again with another episode of Keeping It Clear with Cody Bowen. It's been about a month since our last one. We have a new sponsor. Let me tell you about that. Loveland Funeral Homes does this thing called Loveland Safe Rides. On July 17th, 1997, Brett Martin, the best friend of Kevin Loveland, died in an alcohol-related automobile accident. From this tragic death, Loveland's Safe Ride program was born in honor of his best friend. Loveland's Safe Ride program offers free safe rides home from major events in Union County, where there's alcohol served, obviously. The program has grown to include support from the Union County District Attorney's Office, Legacy Ford, Goss Motors, and Frontier Motors, who put 4 vehicles for major events for people to provide rides for people home that have been drinking. Jerry Hopkins is the lead driver and program coordinator, and he's been with this program since the very beginning. He's worked tirelessly to make this a program that'll work. Their goal was to someday open the newspaper and see 0 drunk driving citations in Union County, and that happened in 2012. So Loveland Safe Ride, man, they're bringing us, they're helping us bring this to you, and we're very appreciative of that. It's a great fit and a great cause. Now let me bring on the guest of honor, Cody Bowen. What's up, my man?
Hey, yeah, I would like to give a shout out to Loveland's. That program, you know, we see it. We work the rodeos, we work the big functions, the concerts, and we see those folks taking advantage of those rides. And man, you talk about a lifesaver, they are making a difference. So thank you.
Definitely. Yeah. This is a live interactive program, so feel free to post your questions, and I'll ask them. I mean, I am going to filter them a little, but not, I mean, if it's something that's, you know, pertinent and it's not offensive, I'll put it out there. So put it up on Facebook. If you're not comfortable posting it there, you can email me at kyle@eoalive.tv during this live section of the show, and I'll ask Cody the questions. Cody, what's up, man? What's new?
It's another month down the road. Wrapping up our first year in office, and what a success! I've learned a lot. I'm still learning a lot to this day. You know, this is a political office by far, and if you know me, I'm no politician. I say what's on my mind, and I tell you what I think, and you know who I am at the end of the day. And I look forward to, you know, staying that course, if you will. A lot of great things can be accomplished by standing up for what's right and doing what's right, and you know, that's the mantra of my office, if you will. Morale in the office is through the roof. If you get a chance to talk to me or our deputies, have any questions about what's going on, I'm excited. I'm excited for what's to come, and I know I sound like a broken record when I say that, but it comes from my heart. I am excited for where our office is at and the service we're providing for the county right now. Has
it really already been a year?
Yeah. It's been almost 13 months.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. What have you? What's? All right. Give me the high and the low. Give me the.
Oh man, the high was January 3rd of last year, getting sworn in and getting through the election process, and you know, that putting that behind me and being able to focus on, you know, putting a little bit of Cody Bowen into the office. The low, I will be honest with you, and it's felt nationwide. You know, we have some great deputies out there on the road that risk their lives day and night, and our vehicle situation. We've had 4 vehicles on order for the last year, and we're still waiting on 3 of those vehicles. You know, these vehicles are not your everyday average used vehicles. They get ran hard, they get ran a lot of hours, a lot of miles, and our priority as an office is keep our deputies in safe gear, safe vehicles. So the low right now for me is not being able to replace some of the vehicles that are in dire straits, which in turn puts our vehicle maintenance line, if you will. The money we're spending to keep these vehicles up running is far more than what we planned on, and that's frustrating. So, and that's felt across. I mean, we've tried every option. We've tried to go through locally. We've tried to go through our fleet services, and the big 4, big 5, if you will. They're not releasing any vehicles on fleet pricing, or let alone can even provide any vehicles. So, we do have 3 Ford pickups that we're purchasing locally here, and we're just waiting on those to show up, but there's still no word. That's been a low for me.
So basically, what you're saying is you got the money for the vehicles, you just can't
Absolutely.
get your hands on them.
Yeah. What we put in our budget plan, we budgeted for 3 new vehicles every year to replace. We're about 5 years behind. There was a big purchase of 5 vehicles several years ago with the agreement not to purchase any for the next couple of years, and that really hurt us. That put us behind. So I want to see 3 new vehicles every year, and with a fleet of 15 patrol deputies on the road, that'll keep us in functioning, safe, operational vehicles for years to come.
Nice. There was a pretty big personal event in your life this last week too.
Yeah.
Your daughter committed to play softball at a D1 Pac-12 school, man.
Yeah, that
It was her dream.
Yeah, I still get a little emotional thinking about it. Coach Woody Wright, he was there to talk and speak, and which was fortunate because I'm very emotional, soft guy when it comes to my kids, and for her to achieve a goal that she set several years ago, her commitment, the time that she's put in, the money that we've all put in, her family donations, whatever that is, to see a kid from Eastern Oregon commit to Division I level, it's not something that happens all the time. I'd like to see it happen more because we have the talent here, we have the kids. It's just getting them out there, getting them seen, getting them in the right places. So, yeah, OSU, go Beavs.
Yeah. All right. Like I said, this is a live interactive show. If you want questions asked, just post them on right here on the comments or send me an email at kyle@eoalive.tv. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to be joined by Union Cove North Powder School Resource Officer Tony Humphreys. Welcome back. Keeping It Clear with Cody Bowen, live interactive. We have 2 Facebook feeds going, so I'm going to monitor both of those. If you have comments like Dana and Randy, Dana says, "Well done, Dad." Randy says, "Go Kinsey." Just post them right there in either of the Facebooks or email me. Like I said, Kyle at EO Live TV. Right now, we're going to bring on the Union Cove North Powder School Resource Officer, Tony Humphreys. Tony, how's it going? I'm good, man. Let's start off. Let's give the people a little background. Like give me a a synopsis of your life and how you got into law enforcement.
Jeez, how much time you got? Gosh, born and raised over in Baker. Graduated there, then came over here in '92 and got in law enforcement in 1994 with the Union Police Department as a reserve until '97. Got hired on full time with the police department there until 2006. I'm going way back now. When I was hired on with the Union County Sheriff's Office here, and I've been here since.
Nice. What got you into law enforcement? Like why?
Why? Just something I always wanted to do when I was a younger kid. My mom caught me on my tricycle. She's like, "Where are you going?" So I'm going to New York. She goes, "Why?" And become a cop. Yeah, I think it's kind of started there, and just something I always wanted to do.
You wanted to be a New York cop in the 80s?
Back in the 70s, yeah.
In the 70s? You're not that old, man.
Dude, I'm 51.
You look pretty good for 51.
I appreciate that.
Let's flip to Cody real fast. Cody, talk about Tony's role and what's going on with, obviously he's a school resource officer for multiple schools, small schools in our county. Kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, you know how I feel about the school resource officer role. That's one of the most important roles in our office, not to take away from any of the rest, but preventative maintenance and relationship building with the youth in our community, especially in today's day and age with the whole defund the police push. I believe had we had these better relationships established with the younger kids, we wouldn't be looking at this awful situation that we're in right now with the people not understanding law enforcement or not supporting law enforcement. So I'm big, huge supporter of that. Of course, I was in that role for many years, six years as a school resource officer here, and something I'm very passionate about. Tony and I, when I first started, we were sent to Minnesota, in the middle of February for 2 weeks for DARE training. And I've said this before, but if you ever get the opportunity to go to Minnesota in February, don't. Because it was 30 and some change below at times, and just the coldest place on earth I've ever been to. But anyways, Tony is one of those deputies that, like myself, knows how to relate with our youth, has a way to break down those walls of presenting himself as a human being, as a person, and someone that's friendly to the younger generations and the older generations for that as well. Parents and teenagers and the kids in between. Not only is he also the school resource officer for the outlying communities schools, but on Fridays he's also contracted with LeGrand. So we have 2 school resource officers in LeGrand School District on Fridays. So it's he has a big role. He has 3 different schools Monday through Thursday that he bounces back through, and has done an absolutely fantastic job establishing relationships, and I couldn't be more proud to have him in the role that he's in, and I hope he plans to stay there for quite a while.
Nice. Tony, do you like driving the canyon in the winter?
Oh, I love it. Done it for many years.
You take Piles Canyon to North Powder? I
do.
I don't like this weather, man. I saw a Union County Sheriff yesterday, actually. I think it was yesterday. I was getting gas, and it might have been the day before yesterday, the really slick day. And man, even on even rolling code, they were only going like 25, man, because it was so slick. I wouldn't be a fan of having to travel back and forth between there. We have a question from Dana, and I think it just goes to you, Cody, but Tony, you can chime in on it too.
Okay.
Dana says, what's the deal with electric bikes? They're everywhere and they don't follow any of the vehicle laws.
I'll let you take this one, Sheriff.
Okay, he knows I love electric bikes. So Pendleton
one?
Pendleton across the hill, they've got not the electric bikes, but the electric scooters. You know, you swipe your credit card and you cruise all over on those things. I love them. They're awesome. They're a great way to get around. They're not the safest things at times, but yeah, electric bikes. You know, Dana, my father has an electric bike. If you'd like to have a conversation with him over coffee one morning, but the electric bikes, you know, the rule of law, if you will, is the bikes need to follow the same exact laws as any motor vehicle that are on a public roadway. So I've had those discussions. You know, it's easy for the person on the bike to roll the stop sign or to cross in the crosswalk or whatnot, and that's illegal. That's against the law. Bikes need to follow. And at the same time, you know, motorized vehicles, us people in the vehicles that are driving by those guys need to give them a little room, need to, you know, respect that they are out there in the elements. And, you know, God forbid you bump into somebody on a bike and it's, you know, it doesn't matter whose fault it is, but somebody's going to get hurt. So give them some room. They do need to follow, for those of you with the electric bikes, you need to follow the rules of the road, same as if you're in your vehicle. But, you know, there's something that we're seeing more and more of, and they're out there, and that, you know, they're inviting to some folks, and they get people out and about, and, you know, they're used in the hunting communities. You know, I'm a fan of them. I just would encourage everybody to, you know, follow the rules of the road for sure.
Let's give another shout out to Loveland Safe Rides real fast. From their inception, they've given an astronomical amount of rides. I don't want to misquote it, so I don't want to say the number, because I've heard a few different numbers and I don't know exactly, but they've definitely saved lives. There's no doubt about that. And Loveland Safe Ride, man, what a great program that we have here in the Valley. It's heartwarming. It really is, because people, you know, you get inebriated and you make bad decisions. And when it's just one phone call or one text away to get a ride in that situation with no questions asked, it's huge. Loveland Safe Ride right here in LeGrand. Let's use the old BC word and pivot back to Tony. Tony, how many animals have you ran over in your career?
Oh my gosh, who asked that question?
We won't talk about that.
Yeah. I'd almost have to take off my boots, I think, to count. I've hit a few.
It's that Union and the Cove Highway, man. They're tough. I've hit a deer on that road myself.
Let's just say I've worked the county over pretty well. Not just between Union or Cove and LeGrand.
So here's another question. Since that law passed, Cody and Tony, where you can keep roadkill if you go through the proper, you know, whatever you have to do. When a county vehicle, like say a county sheriff, hits something, what are we doing with that? Like, are we putting that to the food bank, or what are we doing? Good question.
Somebody that's on duty that happens to, if you will, it's handled the same way it was before. ODF&W is contacted, and it usually goes. The thing about that, you know, finally our state is allowing that, because other states around us, all our neighboring states, have allowed that for quite some time, and there's some benefit to it. What I've heard from the folks that have salvaged some of those animals is that the meat is usually destroyed. It's usually quite bloodshot. There's a certain level amount of adrenaline that's deposited into those animals, and it's not a healthy thing to eat. I will say that there are people doing it, you know, taking the proper steps, and it's great. If there's an opportunity where an animal has been struck just right, and it's something that can be salvaged, then that any passerby or the person can contact ODF&W and request I don't say it's a damage tag, but a salvage tag. They're not allowed to keep any you know, male species that have any antlers or, you know, significant racks. But other than that, you know, there's not a lot of restrictions on it. So I think it's a good thing. Obviously, it's working. You know, there's a lot of folks out there that are taking advantage of it, and if it puts food in their freezer and helps them out, then I'm all for it.
Nice, Tony. What's the favorite part of your job?
Oh man. I think, honestly, probably working with the kids in the community, outlying schools. Right now, I just started this week with the DARE program in my outlying schools, Union, Cove, and North Powder. Just finished lesson 1 today in Union. And just sitting there down with them and listening to their stories, their life, and everything else is really something I enjoy. And then another is the camaraderie in our sheriff's office. As Sheriff Bowen was talking about earlier, the morale in the sheriff's office is just at an all-time high. Something I haven't seen in quite a while, which is fantastic.
What's the least favorite part of your job?
Making those phone calls or going to somebody's house and making that talk to a loved one when someone has passed or been hurt.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons why I could never do like human services is because I'm too emotional. I wouldn't be able to handle it. Like I've told Cody this before. You put me into like a situation where a kid's being hurt, and it wouldn't be healthy.
Yeah, it's a tough job for sure at times, but it's my role right now in the school is probably the most rewarding job I've ever had in the sheriff's office or even law enforcement in the last almost 28 years that I've been doing this.
Every school resource officer I've ever talked to says that.
Yep.
Really, I mean, it's like, and I think it takes a special person too. Like, you have to not only be super patient, obviously, but you have to actually like love kids. Like you have to have you have to be passionate about kids.
Absolutely.
So like challenges? Is it because they're smaller schools? Is it kind of challenging not being able to spend more time at each school?
Absolutely. Like this week, I've only been able to go to North Powder once, and then the rest of the week I've been busy in other schools that needed my help. And there's times I try to get to all three of my schools in one day, and other times it's impossible.
Lonnie says your favorite part of your job is your coworkers. She's on here talking smack.
Yes, that's for sure.
People. So earlier today on our morning show, I was talking about this show today, and one of the people that watches Bud, I was telling him, Cody, so you can hear this too, Tony. I was telling him about the video of Molly going through the window, dude.
Oh yeah.
No. Would you do that, Tony? Would you sit in that car, Tony?
Absolutely not.
No. I let the dog bite me. I'm not sitting in that car. No way. That's too close to the goods.
Yeah.
Would you do it, Cody?
I've said I would do it if I actually get the opportunity. Sitting right there, shout out to that gentleman in that video, Union County Emergency Coordinator and a reserve deputy for us, Nick Vora. He has worked hand in hand with Deputy Jensen and Molly from its inception as far as her being here and Dane doing the training here. Nick's he's been in that bite suit more times. He's been bit by anybody more than anybody else in this county. And for him to sit there with his hands on the wheel and have her come through with his face right there, I hear you, Dodsy. No thanks.
What
I don't
if she
think I'd do
misses
it.
one time? Half of your face is gone.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
for sure.
That wouldn't be pretty. Carrie Mosato says Tony's a wonderful human being and has a heart of gold.
Thank you very much, Carrie.
So Tony, you're 51. How much longer are you going to do this?
I'm asked that almost daily. When are you going to retire? It's like a question. I mean, you want me to retire?
It's not asked by me.
No, it's not. I've got another 10 years in me.
Another 10 years.
My wife and I talk about this quite often. I'd like to be able to retire in 4 or 5 years. That way we have some time together and so on and so forth. Travel and do all that fun stuff. But I still love what I do each and every day. Told many years ago, if you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. I think I've only worked one day. But I still love what I do. As long as Cody's going to have me, I'll be here.
What do you like? Do you have hobbies? What do you like to do?
Oh,
outside?
man. Yeah, I like to hunt and fish and go camping. My wife and I have a fifth wheel. We like to go camping and traveling. We'd like to go travel this summer if we can. Go see my brother down in California. Just things like that. ATVing. I love ATVing. That's part of my job during the summer months is the ATV program. but family guy. I love being around my wife and kids. We've got 3 kids, a boy and 2 girls, or a young man and 2 young ladies, and we also have 2 beautiful grandkids.
You're a grandpa? You don't look like a grandpa, man. I just don't put it on you.
Oh, dude, there's times I feel like one.
Yeah? Yeah. So here's a good question.
Okay. You're
You're a school resource officer for LeGrand.
Okay.
LeGrand's playing Baker. Who you rooting for? I mean, I'll kick you out of this studio real fast.
Dude, go Tigers. Let's go.
I'm just kidding. People don't understand. Like when Cody and I were in school, Baker didn't. I mean, we weren't even in the same league. We played every once in a while, but there wasn't the rivalry that there is now. So one of my good friends, he moved to Baker, and his kids go there. Shout out to Kobe Meyer. And, man, we just go back and forth. Like totally.
Depends on if it's a home game or an away game.
Yeah. If it's in Baker, you're rooting for Baker. If it's in
go.
LeGrand, you're rooting for LeGrand, which is perfectly fine. Cody, let's shift a little bit and so with these school resource officer programs, how are those funded?
Yeah, that's a great question. Funding wise is now it's 100% funded by the schools. We in the office, the county, if you will, we foot the bill as far as training, vehicles. Overtime is a big one. Basically, the contract works. The schools, let's just take LeGrand School District, for instance, for Deputy Hernandez. They basically, we divide it out over the course of the year. He's contracted for 181 days, which is 181 days that the school is in session. That's parent-teacher conferences. That is while the kids are actually in school. And then, as far as the games and whatnot, the extra stuff that the county provides, anything that goes over, the 40 hours a week, then the overtime or the comp time or however they choose to take that time falls back on the county, and that's the bill that we foot. It's an evolving, it's a living document, if you will. We learn something every year. We did it. When we first signed that contract, it was a 2-year, then a 3-year, and then with COVID, we went to 1 year because we didn't know for sure if the kids were going to be back in school and if that service was going to be needed. Fortunately, we're back in school, and we've re-upped that contract for a 2-year contract, and it's a relationship, is what it is. Of course, the money funds it, but the schools have realized. And along with our office, realize the importance of having that law enforcement figure or that structured figure inside the school, whether that's assisting the teachers or assisting administration with policy issues, whether that's actual crime that takes place in the school. The role of the school resource officer, his hat can change 3 or 4 times on a daily basis. So,
yeah, for sure. This is a live interactive show. There's a lot of you watching. Help me out with questions because my brain hurts. Tony, question for you.
Yes.
What's the most challenging thing in school?
Most challenging thing at school?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, you're going to make me think now, aren't you?
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, most challenging thing is like what the sheriff was just saying. We have to switch hats. I was on patrol for, many, many years before I went to the school resource deputy, and going from patrol to an SRO, you have to wear different hats. From being a counselor to somebody that sits down and reads a book with a kindergarten class, sitting down with a student at lunch just to see how they're doing. Hey, how's life? Hey, how's sports? Things like that. At first, that was challenging for me because I wanted to go out and write tickets in school zones and things like that. Now it's more, I think Cody said it pretty good, preventative maintenance type thing. Always taking care of the students and the faculty, the teachers, superintendents, and principals. Always getting phone calls from them. I might be in one school and then get a text or a phone call. Hey, Tony, I need you here. Where are you at? I'm in North Powder. Okay, now I got to go to Cove. So time management for me can be challenging, if that makes any sense. especially when you got 3 different schools. And then Friday, I attend LeGrand High School or LeGrand School District, and then turn around and have games that night, and then a dance and so on and so forth. So time management's kind of tough to do every now and then.
Are you going to be at Union tomorrow night?
I will be.
It's the JM Strong fundraiser night.
Nice.
Do you know Joel, the assistant coach at Union,
Yes.
Joel McCraw?
I do, yes.
His wife was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer, and tomorrow night they're doing the JM Strong fundraiser. And
Nice.
Jill, you're in my prayers too. Joel and I are pretty close, and it's been a battle for that family, man. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I agree. It's they're a great family, great kids in school.
Awesome.
Always very polite to me and very respectful. And so I appreciate that. And thoughts and prayers to the family for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking about trying to get out there. I haven't been to a Union High School game yet this year.
Well, I expect to see you out there then.
Well, hey, I went. So the younger two, they were playing at LeGrand and middle school, and it's the first time I've ever rooted against my home team. Man, I felt horrible, but I got to root for my McCraw boys, man. That's just how it is.
Absolutely.
So, Cody, is there anything else that people need to know, about like the school resource position or give me some dirt on Tony. Like, give me something good.
Come on.
Give me something good about it. Like, pump him up.
Oh man, I will tell you one thing. Being in this role as far as administrative and being responsible for our county's budget and whatnot. We had a conversation the other day about our comp time and our overtime and how are we addressing it and where are we going and whatnot, and listening to Deputy Hernandez and Deputy Humphreys, Tony and Justin talk about their commitment to the school and the obligation that, and I feel it still to this day, but the obligation of a school resource officer to be everywhere all at once and be the answer to everybody's problem assist with the answer to everyone's problem is something that is so above and beyond just wearing the badge and the vest. It takes a special person to do that. So I can't say how much I appreciate the 2 gentlemen that are in this role. And I know if you get the opportunity to say hi to one of them or shake their hand or get to know them, please do, because they're the most approachable people. And our community and our kids, I guarantee you, are prospering from this huge, not only in the safety aspect, but as far as the relationships that your kids are developing with law enforcement, will pay dividends down the road. I'm a big fan of it. I ask for all the support in the world for it, and if you get a chance to see him, say thank you, please do, because it means the world to hear that. It's a thankless job. You're not always viewed as the people don't always smile when they see you. When you pull up behind them and light them up or whatnot, you're usually a consequence or whatnot. So if you get a chance, whether it's our school resource officers or any deputy out there, give them a smile, give them a wave, tell them thank you, because they're community members just like everyone else, and they have a job in this community, and we have the best deputies that I know of across the state.
Yeah, couldn't be said better. The crazy thing to me, like, and most of the time kids that play sports, right, they already have, like, if they're lacking that positive role model at home, they usually have it, right, in a coach or another parent that hangs around the team. But like these school resource officers, they become the positive role model, male or female, depending upon if for a lot of these kids that are I can't remember what my mom calls it. What is at risk?
Yeah.
At risk kids, man,
Right.
and it's huge. I mean, my mom played that role before the school resource officer was ever even incepted at LeGrand. My mom played that role for a lot of people, and so I got to see it, firsthand. And that's the part that I appreciate the most about the school resource officers is the kids that kind of get lost in the shuffle. You know what I mean? Like the ones that don't play sports or aren't the most popular kid. The school resource officer a lot of times becomes that foundation for them to really thrive.
For sure. Yeah, years ago, the school resource officer position, across our nation was a spot where officers or deputies, finished out the last 4 or 5 years of their career, and they weren't, they were salty, they were had a lot of years of law enforcement in that thankless position, and they were riding out that spot. Today's day and age, we have our younger generation, we have our people that are in those roles that truly excel in working with the kids and wanting to be there in the the bottom of their heart. You have to want to be there. You have to want to be that structure, that father figure, whatever that is. Building those relationships with those kids, having an experience, having a background to be able to relate to every kid is crucial in this role.
Yeah. Tony, I got a question coming in from Crystal. You've been an officer for a while. Have the improvements in technology made your work easier or more complicated? That's a good question.
Probably a little bit easier for sure. Especially we have computers in our patrol vehicles now. We have access to information that we didn't used to before. I just wish that I was more computer techy. I'm not, but I'm doing the best that I can. But technology is absolutely helping us out for sure.
Yeah, you have to leave the vehicles running to keep those computers on, huh?
Time to time.
I'm gonna catch Jay Hearn slipping one of these times, and he's gonna have that thing running. I'm gonna go for a little ride.
Well, for sure. Mine tends to shut down after a certain period of time and whatnot. But yeah.
So, last question, Tony, and this is coming from me, just because I'm interested in it.
Perfect.
And well, let me say this first. Bud Forrest says, nice seeing young people interacting with the police versus corrective measures, which is, yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
It's called being proactive, and it's huge.
Right.
And but my question for you, Tony, is in the summertime,
Right.
you do the ATV patrol, is that a nice wind down from a school year?
It is. It really is. I enjoy going up in the mountains for sure, getting out, and we see a different kind of people. We see the adults going out and having fun, kids going out and having fun on ATVs, side by sides, and camping and everything else. I'll go into a campsite and just start talking to people. And in the last couple of years, they're like, "Aren't you Deputy Humphreys? Aren't you from Cove School?" It's like, "Yes, I am," or from North Powder Union. But it is a nice wind down for sure. But by the end of summer, I'm ready to get back to my kids.
Yeah.
My kids now, my kids are graduated and they're all adults and everything else. But the kids in my schools are my kids. My wife and I could be at Walmart, and one of my kids come up and, "Hey, Deputy Humphreys, hey, how you doing?" And we start talking, and we walk away. It's like one of my kids.
Yeah, I've seen that for the last 20 plus years of my life with my mom. My mom's got 5,000 kids, man. Like, how'd you have so many kids, lady? It's crazy.
Right.
So, Tony, or Deputy Humphreys,
Tony.
I mean, we appreciate you being on, man, and I look forward to getting to know you better. I really appreciate the fact that Cody's got people that are especially in these school resource officer positions, man. It's huge. It really is. Huge. Cody, do you want to say anything to Tony before we get him out of here and get him back to whatever he's got going on?
No. Having this discussion, I mean, yes, I do. Having this discussion reminds me of why we have people in certain positions and who they are, and putting people on the spot, getting them up here in front of the spotlight, and hearing what they have to say, is the same thing that they say, when we're having a conversation. So I know it's genuine, I know it's heartfelt, and it reassures me that the things that I learned when I was a reserve, a lot of folks don't know this, but Tony was one of the guys that I rode around with a lot. Tony and I had established a relationship years and years and years ago, and I learned a lot from him, and I still learn a lot, especially when it comes to dealing with the people. There's so many different ways to do this job, and you try and take a little bit from each person that teaches you. And what I learned from Tony and what I took from Tony was working with the public and understanding how to talk to people, even in terrible, awful situations. Finding something in common with somebody and being a hometown person that people know you and recognize your name. And I just want to say to Tony, I know I don't say it enough, but thank you for what you do. You're crucial in this role, and you're crucial in our county. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate that, man.
You bet, brother.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's funny, if you don't mind me butting in real quick.
Do it.
I've had so many people in the last year ask me, "Hey, how's it? What's it like working with Cody?" It's like, dude,
Easy.
Yeah. No. Are you guys ready for this? No. Cody's been a lot of fun. Like he was saying, he started out as a reserve. I was his field training officer when he went through the academy. I actually went to the academy when he was there as his FTO, and it was just a lot of fun. Cody's been a blast. He hasn't changed one bit from the Silver Star to the Gold Star, from reserve to deputy to sheriff. I still respect him as I did day one, and I still do. He's a lot of fun to work with, work for, and I got nothing but respect for him.
Thanks, man.
Eastern Oregon, he's Union, Cove, North Powder, LeGrand School Resource Officer, Deputy Tony Humphreys. Cody and I will be back after a break, and we will answer a few more questions and get you out of here. Appreciate
EO
it.
Live is your connection to Eastern Oregon. Get the latest and most relevant news in 2 minutes or less with Megan Demersion on our evening news broadcast. We cover Eastern Oregon's weather daily with Gabe, the EO Live weather kid, with an extended forecast every Friday. Watch Dodsey on EO Live Sports to get the latest sports information and interviews with local coaches, athletes, and more. See Brent and Dodsey goof and gaff with local guests on EO Live's morning talk show, AM on EO Live. We're available across the board, including Facebook, YouTube, Amazon Fire, and of course, our very own website, eolive.tv. We even have our own Roku channel and 24/7 live streaming via Strim. You can also listen to our shows on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and many other popular podcast apps. You can get everything all in one place with the EO Live app, available on Android, iOS, and the Amazon App Store. EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon. EO Live is your connection.
Welcome back, Eastern Oregon. Keeping it clear with Cody Bowen. This is brought to you by Loveland Safe Rides. And, Kevin Loveland, he started this program. Jerry Hopkins is the program coordinator. It's a huge asset to our community. It's saved numerous lives, I'm sure of it. So when you see Kevin or Jerry, give them a thank you. donate to this cause. I mean, there's multiple huge organizations here in town that help with this, and it's a great thing that Loveland's got going on. Cody and I are gonna talk for a few minutes, and then we're gonna get you guys out of here. There's quite a few people watching. I'm gonna go back through a few of the comments because some of them were just not Tony Humphreys related, Deputy Humphreys. But first, let me show you guys this. I've been hassling Cody about a patch for my wall. Well, when Deputy Humphreys got ready to leave just now on the break, he took this off of his uniform and gave it to me. That's pretty cool, man. That's going up on the wall behind me. It's got a spot. Cody, let me go through these comments that people talked about. Randy Winterton said, "Wouldn't want it any other way. Go Kinsey." Grandma Mare is watching. You know who that is. Let's see. Dana said he'd love to chat with your pop.
All right.
About the electrical bikes, I guess.
Yeah, at the shortstop around 7 o'clock.
Oh, he's a shortstop guy?
Yeah, he's a shortstop guy.
Huh.
Yeah.
There's like different groups that
There is. They're cliquey at that
Yeah,
age.
they are, huh? They are. They most definitely are.
Yeah.
Lonnie said, "We love our sheriff." There hasn't been a lot of questions, but there's a lot of people watching. So this is a live show. If you have a question for Cody, I mean, I'm going to take questions for about another 5 minutes, and then we're going to get out of here because the whole point of this is for transparency and for you guys to be able to ask him questions. I can sit here and ask him questions until I'm blue in the face, but the whole point of this show is for you guys to be able to. And there's a lot of people that are watching, so conjure up some questions. Put him on the hot seat. I mean, make him uncomfortable. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Cody,
Yeah.
where are we at? I always wonder this because I hate the winter. What protocols are in place when the roads are crappy for county sheriffs? Do you have specific rules you have to follow when it comes to driving, or is it just basic rule be smart?
Yeah, it's basic rule, and that's year round. I get questions sometimes of why was that deputy going that fast, with no lights on, or does it really need to go that fast on Island Avenue? And I can assure you that your office is full of professionals and they're highly trained, and their number one goal is to get to the call and get there safely. When somebody's screaming, "I need help," they really have to push the limits. There's time. Just last week, I was en route to Elgin myself, following another deputy on a sheet of ice. And there was times we were 75, 80 miles an hour. And is that unsafe? I would not say it's unsafe, but is it, the circumstances can dictate how we drive and where we go. But bottom line is that we can do absolutely no good if we don't make it. And each deputy knows that. Our policy dictates how we drive, where we drive, and the precautions that we take or the steps that we take. So, winter driving, I would encourage everybody to slow down. We talk about it in the office. That's not just for the police, but that's for anybody. The other night we had 5 crashes all at the same time, and it was an absolute sheet of ice and next to impossible to drive in. So I would encourage everybody to slow it down, especially this time of year. We have deputies out doing a different array of things. We have snowmobile patrol going on right now. So those of you that are out and about, I would encourage you to make sure you have a plan. Watch out for avalanches. Let people know where you're going. We do have deputies out and about. We have the Snowdrifters, our local snowmobile club that helps us out, that provides the funding to get our deputies out and the gear. We focus in some certain areas, that high traffic areas. I would encourage everybody, if you see a groomed trail, volunteers put their time into that, the equipment that they use. Unless you have a tracked machine or a snowmobile, stay off of those groomed trails. They're not designed for your Jeep. They're not designed for your pickup. I don't care how big your tires are. And if you're caught on those, I don't care where it's at, you're going to get a ticket. So just be respectful and everybody try and get along this time of year.
Well, here's the thing too. For the people that always, that say that officer's going so fast in this crappy weather, dude, they're humans. They don't want to die.
No.
You know what I mean? They're not going out there blazing down the road on the ice. You know what I mean? It's common sense.
Absolutely. And I'll be honest with you, until you're in that position, you can sit back and armchair quarterback. But if I am going to save your great aunt in Elgin because she's choking on something or somebody's breaking into her home, you rest assured you're going to want me going as fast as I absolutely can to get there to save that. To preservation of life is crucial. At the same time, keep in mind that it might not look safe at the time, or you might not agree with how we're doing, but have faith in the training that these deputies have, city or state. It might look out of control to you, but bottom line, we're doing a job. We want to get home to our families. We want to help out your family, save lives, and it's a process at times. But if you have questions, if you see something, our door is open. If you have a question or concern, there's no reason that we won't tell you why we were driving fast at a certain time. We're not untouchable. It's not a pride issue. It's not something that you don't need to know about. If you have a question about somebody driving, call and ask. Hey, we'll tell you the information that we can tell you. We might not be able to tell you everything, but we'll let you know. There's a reason why things happen, and it's not always clear and present. I'll roll into. I'm very excited to announce that we're going to, in the near future, start what we call a Citizens Academy. And what that is it opens the door to any citizen in Union County, anybody for that matter, young, old, in the profession, out of the profession. I don't care if what your role is in this community. If you're interested in law enforcement and what we do, our training, what we do on a daily basis, whether that's corrections, whether that's patrol, we're going to offer up a Citizens Academy where you're going to have the opportunity as a citizen of Union County to come in to our office, go through everything that we have in there at our hands, our patrol vehicles, our dispatch center, our jail, our office space. You're going to learn how things work on the inside. You're going to learn what we do for the tools on our belt to the training that we go through, and we're going to put you through some of those training scenarios just to anybody that's curious. And in fact, if anybody's interested in doing that, I'm going to start a list up at our office. Call and say, hey, I'm interested in the Citizens Academy. Give us your name, give us some contact information, and when that rolls out, we will get in touch with you, and I'm going to open that door to everybody, anybody that's interested. So,
we have a few questions, so I'm going to get through these fairly
Okay.
fast, so I don't keep you, get you out of here. First off, Chris Rasmussen says, Cody, you are so respected. Keep up the great work. And then I forgot to mention this earlier. Greg Givens, he said that he was in a restaurant in the Dalles at Cousins. He met a guy and he asked him where he was from, and he said LeGrand. And this guy said he was from Richland, and he said, man, I wish we had your sheriff. and he said, I thought maybe you would pass that off to him. And then here we go. We have a few questions, and I'm going to ask him. You don't have to go too into detail on these.
Sure.
Dana asked, what's next as far as the new building?
It's still in its infancy stages. We've sent out a proposal. We received a proposal. We had a group of folks that chose an outfit. Really what it comes down to is funding. I don't want to go forward with this until the education piece is brought forward. Folks need to know why we say we need a new building or why we need a new facility. And until people understand that wholeheartedly, they're not going to be on board with why law enforcement needs it. It's just somebody new asking for more money. It's so far from the case. So right now we're trying to figure out to establish funding to contract with this outfit, and that's the next step. We've got the ball rolling. I don't want it to slow down. This next process, once we get this company involved, they're going to go from establishing our needs, our wants, and site location to the education piece to the funding piece, that from start to finish. But that's quite a ways down the road. We have to one step at a time figure out where we're at, and then it'll roll into the part of the Citizens Academy is educating folks on the needs of law enforcement and in relation to the service that's provided.
Cool. Bud asks, any expansions for 2022? New programs, ideas, plans? Obviously, the Citizens Academy. And anything else?
Yeah, Citizens Academy, Reserve Academy is going strong. Reserve and cadets right now, they're getting closer to taking their final test and wrapping up. We're establishing gear and uniforms, and I'm excited to get those guys out and get them back in the community. And we have 7 or 8 reserves now. That's definitely new. The new vehicle's coming. That's new. The new facility, like I said, it's pretty in its infancy, but something that I want to keep talking about. Yeah, That's about it right now.
I'm going to ask you these last three, and then I'm going to get you out of here.
All right.
What's your highest score at SimShot?
Oh, I went out. So SimShot, I love that place. So we have the same. I don't want to get off track, but we have the same. We train off that. That SimShot setup, if you will, is the same thing that law enforcement uses. Different scenarios, that type of stuff. And we have different tools that we use, but it's one of the most realistic training devices that's out there today. I'll tell you, Robert out there, he told me that I did very well on one of the scenarios. I don't remember what my score was, but he was impressed, so I'm good with that. But SimShot is something great for our community. It's an indoor event. They put a lot of time and effort into bringing something new to our community, and I'm excited about it. Hopefully we're going to get our office out there and be able to do some trainings and some recreational stuff as well, too.
Who you got for the Super Bowl? That's Nick Noche asking that question.
I'm excited for Cincinnati.
You are?
Yes, I am. Yeah,
I'm going
that
for
has
the
been.
Rams,
There's been some legacies. There's been some. You know what? If their kicker can see it from high school to all the way through, you know what? Those are the small stories that I'm excited for. Yeah, Cincinnati.
All right, I got the Rams.
Yeah, all right.
For just the simple reason that I really like Stafford, and I think he was stuck in a corner in Detroit for. I mean, he has the two best receiving seasons ever: Megatron in 2012 and Cooper Kupp this year. Stafford was the quarterback, dude, and you can't deny that. I mean, and then I like Aaron Donald too. Aaron Donald is just a legit dude. You never heard anything bad about him, so. Two more quick ones.
Yeah.
What kind of volunteers and donations do you need the most?
One more time, I'm sorry.
What kind of volunteers and donations do you need the most?
Donations for our K-9 program, that is a ever evolving program, and we need donations for our K-9 program. If anybody wants to donate to the sheriff's office, safety is a priority, and to keep in our deputies' safety, it comes with gear, expensive gear. And if you want to donate, whatever you can do, we're always available for that, always open for that. Volunteers, if you want to come out and ride along with a deputy, with a law enforcement officer, come out. It's more of an informational thing for you, but it's really an educational piece. Volunteers in the office, you come up, and if you have some time, we can find something for you to do, for sure. Even if it's helping out at the front counter, helping out, it's limited as far as what we can do when it comes to law enforcement volunteers, but my door is open for anything. And if you have ideas or something you think that would help the office or the community, let's do it.
And then the last question, and you can answer this however you want. Me personally, I look at it kind of like it's not a requirement of the job, so really it's like nobody's business. But I'm gonna give it to you and let you answer it. Do the officers have faith in God, and do you guys ever pray together?
Our officers, our deputies have tremendous faith in God. In fact, I won't get on a religious kick. I'm not a religious man. I don't go to church every Sunday. I have my church, which I would refer to being in the mountains. We have Pastor Frank. We have chaplains. We have people that pray for us. I attend monthly prayer breakfasts to anything extra that I can provide to give some folks a little bit extra, or give myself a little bit extra to make it through on a daily basis. Absolutely. Our new vehicles, some of you might have noticed, I put In God We Trust on the back of our vehicles. And that not only is it on our currency for our nation, but it's something that our nation was built off of. When they say our God-given rights, it rolled into our Constitution. Those are things that folks believe in, and if it's offensive to some people, I won't apologize, because it's something that I believe in. If it bothers you, call me and have a conversation, or better yet, talk to that deputy that has it on his car and ask him why it's on his car. There's things that happen in this career. There's in this profession things that we respond to, situations that we respond to that we don't have an answer for. Why a child started breathing again after half hour of CPR? Why that person survived through that crash? We don't have answers for that. Is it divine intervention? I don't know what it is, but if those four little words across the back of a car makes that deputy feel safer or gives him something to believe in, then so be it. Beautiful.
Lonnie said, yes, we meet for a prayer breakfast monthly. Eastern Oregon, man, keeping it clear with Cody Bowen once again. Cody, you're getting really good at looking at the camera. And
Man,
not
I'm
at
trying.
me.
I'm trying
You're
not to
getting
look
really
at you.
good at it. Like we're not having the like, because we could be sitting here, like,
could.
yeah, exactly. And people would be like, man, what are these dudes doing? Randy says amen. Dave Navziger. Sorry if I chopped that up.
Dave Nafziger, yeah.
Nafziger
A former
says
sergeant of
amen.
mine that's retired. Career
yeah.
law enforcement officer, Sergeant Chris Rasmussen, local sergeant here that retired, that they're living their life in Montana.
Nice.
Someday I'll come find you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Eastern Oregon, man, big thank you to Loveland Safe Rides, man. Without the sponsors, this show doesn't happen. And it's I think it's huge. This is imperative to our community, and it's going well. A lot of good questions tonight, and Cody, big thank you to Union County Sheriff's Office, man. You guys, your transparency is huge, and
Thank you for giving us
it's
the
nice
platform.
I think we need to eventually have all of the deputies on at one time or another.
Yeah, we'll all together all at the same time?
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah, we can check them off one at a time. Some of them are pretty apprehensive, a little nervous about getting in here with you.
Oh,
but
sure they are.
Yeah. I really like the transparency thing. Folks need to know who we are. So
Chris Rasmussen says you can come visit anytime. We love you.
awesome.
Eastern Oregon, once again, thank you to Loveland Safe Rides, man. For Union County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Cody Bowen, I'm Dodsey, EO Alive TV. We appreciate you. Have a good night.
Sweet.